In the 1960s, Professor Jose Delgado took a normally hostile bull and implanted electrodes into its brain. Electrodes that could be activated by a radio transmitter. His objective was to see if stimulation of the bull's midbrain could short-circuit the rage signals, stopping the bull before it reached the matador. After the bull had recovered from the implantation and in mid-charge, the button was pressed. The bull's aggression ceased instantly. A clearer experiment was performed with cats. In this classic example, the hypothalamus, the rhythm maker, was implanted with electrodes. Could it be responsible not just for rhythms, but also for rage? The switch is turned. Then the switch is turned on.
So imagine a young woman, she's just given birth, and then she needs to make the decision. Is she going to have her baby modified? Is she going to turn that baby into a cyborg? This grain of sand, in a sense, that's been nanoteched, is inserted into the human brain, the baby's brain, and it integrates itself into the brain. So that baby, in effect, is no longer human.
This is a man-made motor, a motor so small that more than 6,000 of them would fit on the head of a pin. Welcome to the world of the nanometer, a unit of measure that is 1/1000th of a meter.
A nanometer is pretty small. One of the best analogies that I like to use is to compare it with a human hair. If you take a hair off of the top of your head, you can see that it's very thin. And now if you take something that's 100,000 times thinner than that, that's a nanometer.
The ability to observe and construct things this small is at the heart of nanotechnology.
And some scientists predict that one day we could even have a thinking chip, a thinking chip, a thinking chip, a thinking chip.
He says, but the next step was this active chip, which they've tested out for many years. Implanted in the brain.
In the brain?
In the brain.
The behavioral change happens when you start to make a material so tiny that its electrons are squeezed into a space smaller than they prefer. It's called quantum confinement.
The smaller you make the crystal, the higher the energy of the electron will be. Its kinetic energy is increased, and that can be thought of as making its wavelength a bit shorter and forcing it into a box, into a box, into a box.
At the end of the discussion, the swine flu was mentioned, and a lady got up and declared the following. This is what this lady said. A friend of hers works for a pharmaceutical company in Vienna and told her that the swine flu injection needles indeed contain nanoparticles in the very tip of the needle.
It was frightening as hell just to read that. I mean, we're barely prepared for microchips in the arm and don't want it.
Yeah.
But in terms of in the brain, that's so beyond chilling that it's almost incomprehensible that it would get there without massive outcry. Now, it almost seems like the generation that is here now, you and I, we've got to be off the planet before they can pull that off.
They would love that, and that's the way it was worded in the 600-page the documentation that came out, which I have. I got someone to go into the university's website and get it all before they took it down. And the guy from Tokyo that helped us to design this latest model, because they've tried it since the 1960s on unsuspecting victims. It has a coating on it which literally interfaces with your genetic material, so you can't simply cut it out.
Right.
And it also interfaces in such a way that it attaches itself to the cortex, the little neurons in your brain. And they said this will be the end of individuality as we know it. Says once the guy's words were from Tokyo. He said, He said, when this is working and everyone has it, he said, there'll be no more individuality and no ability for the person to even perceive of themselves as a distinct, separate individual. He said, think of it more like the beehive, and not the beehive that has for thousands of years has been the high occultic symbol, the occultic system. He said you'll hear people's whispers of their thoughts going through your mind back to the central computers, and from the computers back to the people, a constant buzz in your head of thoughts. He says, but it will be impossible for a person to even begin to think of itself as a distinct, separate entity.
The individual is injected with nanoprobes, microscopic machines which attach themselves to the victim's blood cells and begin to immediately rewrite the victim's DNA.
Israel is trying to create a robot no bigger than a hornet that will be able to chase, photograph, and even kill its targets. An Israeli newspaper reports the bionic hornet is being developed to fight terrorists. The flying robot will be based on nanotechnology.
In the federal level with a czar, a disease czar, whatever they want to call it. It's going to be the chip czar. It's going to have full authority over anything your House or Senator, your Congressman or Senator has to say. Because these are people who cannot be touched. These are going to be people with full authority to call out any force necessary, by any means necessary, for full compliance of their orders. And guess what, to all you dumbasses out there that think the servicemen and women are on your side, they're the ones that's going to be ordered to do it. They will do it. All they have to do is say this is for the greater good. That you need to have this done for the greater good of society. If you don't have this, you're going to die. They're going to say this, to that. They're not afraid of having a Marine or two shoot people who disobey. Evening News will defend them. But this will happen. It's already too late, and one of the reasons I know it's too late, because this is what the sheep want. You sheep, this is exactly what you wanted. You want to wear the chip. You want it worse than I could ever even say. Because it's you sheep who voted for these lousy motherfuckers. When you knew you had when liberty was staring you in the face, you chose socialism. You chose a communist over a constitutionalist. You hired a wolf to guard the hen house. And it's all the sheep's fault. You know, a lot of people get mad at me because they think I cut in on the military unmercifully for no reason. No, not nearly as bad as I cut in on all the sheep out there who vote for the leaders, who in turn brainwash these troops to do what? You guessed it. Force something like this down your throat. Oh yeah, you'll accept it. You'll have no choice. But I wonder, sheep, how do you want your chip? Do you want it the easy way, where they just shove it up your ass, or the hard way where they just shoot it up your ass?
We have it till we old, at least that's what I'm told. What I really wanna know is if we really have a soul. My body it controls completely when I dream. What I really wanna know is about the ghost in the machine. You ever hear that little voice in your head, that in the spirit? You have to choose to listen to it if you wanna hear it. It keeps you out of trouble if you learn to take heed. And they say it leaves your body when you die at light speed. I sit in deep thought, thinking about my physical death. There's critical steps you must take with physical flesh. There's people possessed and all these out of body transcendentals. Is it all you're in the flame? Is it all you're in the mental? Our body's just a rental. I hope our soul's eternal. Infernal, external, internal, mind compartmental. All I wanna know is what I have living inside of me. I feel it deep inside, it divides and tries fighting me. Tries inside, violently tries, but dies silently. Eyes are wise, finally prime designs. I am me. We have it till we own. At least that's what I'm told. What I really wanna know.